Chimes of doom are striking soon, while demons rant and rage. All hope is gone, the night is long, and your fear is now uncaged.
Without telling us?
Like we don't. I don't have to edit if it's just not there.
Yeah.
We just start fresh.
How very convenient.
Look, I know how you feel about editing, so.
Don't make me drag you out into the sun where you're going to you have road flares trashed inside a dummy body.
Look, I am clearly not a vampire.
Are you sure?
Yes,
Absolutely.
positive.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Look at his outfit. Is it all black?
yeah.
All right.
Is his hair fluffy?
Is one of my arms more tanned than the other because one arm hangs out the window every day when I drive? Answer is yes.
I don't know about the fluffy hair, though. It kind of looks like a nice guy.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I have the monopoly on that
Yeah,
because I literally do that every day.
The postman
But you
Sam.
also
That's
have to
fair.
have the Scott Stapp hair.
yeah.
Hey, it's not too late to start growing out your hair, Shim, is what we're saying.
Well, I mean, I've clearly been letting it grow a bit. It's been a while since I buzzed it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure as a vampire, you're not allowed to have facial hair either.
You know, what we do in the shadows proves that theory
I would say.
incorrect. Because
Well, I'm talking about in the John Carpenter universe because I don't think any of those.
yeah, I don't think anybody had facial. Well, no, that first vampire in the first house, not the lady but the dude vampire, he had like a goatee.
Yeah.
Was that a goon
yeah.
though, or was that?
It was a goon, yes.
Okay, so he wasn't fully mastered yet. When you
Well, to be
become
fair,
a master,
we
you
only
leave.
really saw like 3 master vampires in anything resembling a close-up.
The only time
That's
you
true.
the only time you might have seen facial hairs when they were coming out of the dirt, and even then, you probably couldn't tell the difference between
That's just a
the
dirt
dirt
stash.
and the facial hair. I mean, occasionally someone's got to rock a good dirt stash.
I mean, are we sure they're vampires and not just mole people?
Well,
could be.
there was a mole in the.
Yeah.
They're weremoles attack.
Oh God!
I mean, my favorite thing about the under the dirt thing is they all came out of the dirt exactly the same way.
Arms up first.
Yep.
Poof. And then
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Caging Greatness.
Whoa.
Because this is Thriller.
This is our Halloween Spooktacular. I am joined by probably the strangest motley crew of co-hosts yet.
Hey, we're always motley down here.
There's a lot of motleying, but we have, to my right,
Hello, it's Pat.
Is JoJo.
it's Frank.
And it's Jeremy.
and nobody wanted to do cool vampire names. Whatever. I thought we were going to be more creative, but it's cool. I don't even care.
Well,
This movie has drained a bit
Yeah.
of creativity, let's be real.
Yeah.
Hold on. I can come up with one. Plasma Pat.
Okay.
I'm going to have suction cups in my hand that draws a very specific part of your blood out.
Just like the Morbius in
Asthma.
the Spider-Man
Look.
cartoon. I love it.
Look, I do have a Halloween-themed shirt on.
You know what?
It
Considering
just says-
that this is an audio
See?
show.
Just call me Frank.
Yes, no. I see
Shim,
it, I see
have
it.
you learned nothing from your tenure at AYCH podcast network? We love visual bits.
I know.
We had an
It's
episode
true.
a few weeks ago where it's just us having a show and tell on a podcast. And
So,
they said it couldn't be done, and by God, we didn't listen.
that is pretty much how things go.
I mean, they told us to stop, and here we are almost 6 years later, baby.
So, it's our Halloween Spooktacular. And if you followed us on Twitter today, or if you're listening to this on Thursday several days ago, then you saw we had 4 movies for you all to choose from, the same way that you gave us Ginger Dead Man.
Woo!
So those 4 movies were Prophecy from 1979, which was Jeremy's pick.
Yes.
The Prophecy from 1995, which was my pick.
You bastard.
Creep from, was it 2014, Joe's pick. And then my pick was better than what we ended up with. Mine had Christopher Walken. But what we ended up with was Frank's pick, which won in a veritable landslide.
It is kind of a bit for the show.
It is a
though.
bit for the show. I even voted for it. And I
I'm
hate
about to
myself.
say, Shim, there's blood in your hands in this episode.
And so what we ended up watching was John Carpenter's 5th worst movie, according to Rotten Tomatoes. Slightly above Ghosts of Mars, which is truly terrible, The Ward, Village of the Damned, and what was the other one? was,
Memoirs of Invisible
that's
Man?
right. The Chevy, yes, Memoirs of Invisible Man. So the fifth worst directed John Carpenter film is John Carpenter's Vampires. That's what we watched. And oh my God.
Ugh.
It was worse than I remember. So,
You're welcome.
I think the
Yeah.
best part of the movie was just the beginning, and then after that, it just was all downhill.
So we're gonna go around in a circle, and we're gonna give our reviews and a brief, our 5-star reviews and our brief synopsis of what we thought of it. And then we're gonna talk about this train wreck that should have gotten arrowed through the heart and pulled into the sun long before it hit theaters. So Patrick,
Yes, hello.
what did you think of John Carpenter's Vampires?
The Van Peters. I remember seeing a portion of this movie, the opening, some time ago when I was just a wee child, and I was quite horrified. And it's like, why are they hurting those poor people by shooting them with spears and dragging them out into the sun? And then, as a man, I realized maybe James Woods and Daniel Barton were the bad guys the whole time. And maybe Vampire Gene Simmons was just a down on his luck guy who was just trying to help his community. It has bones of what could be a fun schlocky 90s movie, but I don't think it quite makes it. 1.5.
All right, Jojo, what'd you think?
About like Pat, like this movie is bad, but it's not like we've seen a lot worse on this show, and I don't know. I just did not enjoy this. It was not fun. It's like I love John Carpenter, one of my favorite directors, and seeing this is actively not good, and you can tell this is this movie just feels really mean-spirited, like for no fucking reason. I'm like with Pat, like 1.5. It's just kind of like mid.
Frank?
Okay, first, sorry.
There's nothing to be sorry about.
No.
Why
Sorry.
did you not accept
Yeah. Yeah, no.
I mean, honestly, if anybody's to blame, it's our Twitter followers. Thank you for following.
Well, I mean, I do own this movie. So it was back in the 90s when I was collecting everything vampires. So it's a little on me there. But anyway, there's like the bare bones of a movie that would be interesting, and they bury it under a lot of just James Woods edgelord and misogyny and some of the worst dialogue ever.
God, James Woods thought he was the baddest motherfucker.
Yes, he did. And I'm going to be kind with 2 stars.
Oh, very charitable of you.
Jeremy?
I think I'm like about with Pat. I remember it came on HBO and I was walking through the living room and saw the part where they're like dragging people out into the sun, catching fire, and I was like, what is this? And the only other memory I had of that movie as a kid was, I guess, the part where she tried to escape, that like the hotel, and that was about it. But having rewatched it, I'm kind of glad that I blocked most of this movie out of my like childhood memory because it's bad. It's not good at all. Like I said, I agree that the first part of the movie is probably the most exciting part, and then after that, it's downhill. And it's not downhill like at a nice gradient. No, it's like a cliff. Like James Cameron kicked Sparta kick. Oh yeah, no. John Carpenter kicked this movie off of a cliff and was just like, bye. See, that's just some depth flirt. I'm giving it a star.
Well, you guys know that I have the tendency to always be much more generous with my ratings than everyone else who gets rated. That's not going to happen here. A
hypocrite thou art.
I hate this movie so much because, like you said, it has ideas that would be cool. A Pope-sanctioned vampire hunter team, that sounds pretty cool. Right? Like there's actual plans, and they go in with like crossbows and winches and shit. And like and John,
mechanical winches, not barmaids from the medieval times.
I mean, maybe there's more barmaids that we didn't see. I don't know. I love John Carpenter, much like we mostly all do. And knowing what he's capable of versus whatever this fucking shit was. And then James Woods taking himself so seriously that he thought he was in a completely different film. I hate this movie so much. Half a star.
Ooh.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
He doesn't like it, Frank.
Because there's movies that are terrible and bad. The Fanatic is bad. The Pest was bad.
He admits it.
I've never said otherwise. That movie's
He said he likes. He enjoyed watching The Pest.
that movie's trash, but I
it's
have
horrible.
nostalgia. Okay,
You mean Poison?
but those movies are bad because they're just bad. This movie's bad because it's such a failure from people who should have known and done better.
Yeah, the execution was just garbage.
So I just I would rather watch a bad movie that's just bad because it's awful versus this, because you can see what could have been better. And you're like, these problems are so easy to fix. Even like the just fresh out of film school student would be like, oh, just do this, and that automatically helps it. And they didn't do it. And it's John Carpenter. You think he would have known better, and he didn't.
Yeah. The movie has a serious pacing problem.
It feels like we got dropped in the middle of just a random fucking Tuesday. There's no act structure.
No.
And
So it's just I don't.
This
Well,
movie-
it just kind of meanders, and then it gets to a crescendo of sorts. But
No, I'm going to disagree there.
no, I mean, it's so flatly paced. Like the whole time, it's like there's no momentum, and you don't give a single fuck about anyone on screen.
I mean, literally, there's a vampire and his new metal crew. They're actively slaughtering people, and somehow they come off as less despicable than James Woods and Daniel Baldwin in this movie.
Yeah, the villains of the movie are more sympathetic than the heroes, because there's no heroes in this movie.
No,
James Wood is a dick. Baldwin is an even bigger dick.
yeah,
And they're just awful. They're all awful. The priest, maybe you could root for the priest, but he's just an idiot.
but then he gets kind of strung along in their bad hand ways, and obviously there's a way to make a movie with quote despicable characters compelling. That is possible. It's been done time and time again. It's just this doesn't work, and plus we talked about how the structure is very odd. It feels like if you you just take it apart like Lego bricks and then put it back in a different order,
Yes.
it's a more
Well,
coherent.
it's like JoJo said, there's no real pacing. It's just at the very first, you get all this actiony stuff. And you're like, oh, it's going to be an action movie. And then it's just bleh, up until the end where there's a little bit of action. And then there's,
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, even the finale where they're raiding the compound with all the masters, and then the big plot reveal of, oh no, the main priest was evil, and even all of that doesn't feel anything close to the climax of the movie. It doesn't feel like the crescendo. It doesn't feel like this is the big ending. This feels like the mid-season finale of a second-rate CW show at best.
yeah.
Exactly. And this movie is oddly empty. And part of it is sort of the location where, they're in the middle of the desert out in the middle of nowhere. But you'd still think there would be more extras. There's just something uncanny of how empty every scene is. It's only just the principal characters on screen.
Yeah, it's like Shimmy pointed out when we were watching the movie. It was they got rid of all of the crew way too early. And I made the joke of, well, they're getting paid by the day, so they only had so much budget. Let's just kill all the crew and just have the two characters left. So that way our payroll is much shorter.
If this movie took more than 3 days to film, I'd be shocked. Honestly shocked. 2 days for all the character, quote unquote, beats, and then 1 day for all the people exploding with firecrackers in their ass. And then you're done. That's all you need to film.
And probably a lot of B-roll.
It definitely does feel like John Carpenter, this was just his New Mexico vacation, and it's like, oh fuck, I was supposed to send the movie in 3 days.
He's just vacationing with Baldwin and Woods. And they're like, hey, let's shoot this on the side, just, to tax write-off.
It does kind of feel like this is like his, like, quote, lost years, where he's just like, oh, he just like in just a haze of like booze and weed, and not like today where he's like smoking a ton of weed and he's fun because he just plays Sonic the Hedgehog and collects royalty checks from Blumhouse's Halloween trilogy. But yeah, it just feels very odd, and like it feels like a TNT Sunday movie. It's just picking and choosing from like what other cooler vampire movies.
Yeah, from the crappy plot to the bad soundtrack, because we all got used to down, 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 down. That's going to be in my head for a week now because that was through the entire movie, just that chord.
and like
it's called a leitmotif, Frank.
and the movie that I really love by John Carpenter, They Live, has a very similar type of soundtrack where it is like that one song that kind of repeats, but for some reason in that movie it works. It seems to like go with what that movie's going for and sort of the monotony of modern life, versus this it's just like, oh, we're in the desert, we're just gonna sit on this same blues chord.
So to kind of go with your point you made earlier about like talking about how this movie feels kind of spiteful, the movie he did prior to this was Escape from LA. And his quote was that he was thinking about quitting filmmaking because it wasn't fun anymore. And then they came to him with this movie. So I kind of feel like, yeah.
He needed to make one more house payment.
I wonder if this was I want to get out of movies, but, this
he still needs to make money.
Well, then apparently they slashed 60-something% of the budget.
Yeah.
Like it
Which
was
makes
60
sense.
million, then they dropped it down to 20. He's like, well, fuck.
Yeah. And,
Well, that's obvious because there's nothing in this movie that looks like it costs money.
and he was like, pick number 4 in terms of directors.
Yeah.
Like,
And I'm looking at the list of people who were considered for other roles, and I'm furious.
I'm pretty upset that Sam Raimi didn't get a chance to direct this because I think it would have been a lot different movie. Or
Yeah.
Peter Jackson, like,
Yeah, I mean, like Sam Raimi Western. Imagine that. I'm kidding. I love the Quick.
yeah, I love that movie
Great
too.
film. Great film.
I mean, like I love the concept of like the out west and like New Mexico and Arizona with vampires. Like that's a really great aesthetic and great theme. But it almost feels like the studios were like, it's like we had a movie and we're being forced to make it. We have to have this movie come out for some reason, and someone has to make it.
What part of it was that Carpenter, like they had a script, and then they had the budget, and then they had less of a budget. So the whole script was Carpenter writing his own thing with bits and pieces of 2 other scripts.
Yeah, that would explain the fact that it's based on a book by John Stakely, I think I looked up.
Yeah.
Vampires with a $sign.
God.
And it's, it's not bad. It's your mediocre vampire novel, and the characters are the same names, but they're not at all the same characters.
So here's some of the people that were considered for that James Woods role, and they all either turned it down, couldn't make it, or the studio said no. Clint Eastwood, Kurt Russell, Bill Paxton, Joe Pesci.
Wow.
Okay, I want to live in the alternate universe where Joe fucking Pesci is just like,
God.
why do these fucking vampires?
It's like his 5'0" ass is holding like a pipe bigger than he is. It's like, come on, you fucking cocksucker.
Al Pacino,
Wow.
and R. Lee Ermey.
Okay.
Well, that would have been a choice.
Arlie Ermey would have been very.
The studio said no to that one.
Well, cause like I can't see Arlie Ermey
Wait.
carrying a movie on his own. He's part of the team.
Wasn't Lundgren supposed to be in it? Like, it's like one of the,
Before Carpenter got involved, it was supposed to be Lundgren as the James Woods role, and then Willem Dafoe as the vampire.
those would have been great.
Well,
Well,
then,
fantastic.
after all of that, Alec Baldwin was going to play the Daniel Baldwin role, but he dropped out and said, "How about my brother?"
Here, let me sub in this lesser
And they
version.
said, "Sure, fuck it, why not?" And then they went back to Lundgren and said, "Hey, you want to be the bad guy?" He's like, "No, no, I'm good,"
Good choice.
and then bailed.
Good choice, Dolph.
So yeah, okay. Principal photography, the filming of this movie was from late June 1997 to August 4th of 1997. They had about 30 days. This movie was filmed over about a month.
You were pretty spot on that with the
What month
Wasn't
did this
realized,
movie come out in?
Midway through production, Carpenter left the film due to creative interference, and the special makeup effects artist took over until Carpenter was persuaded back.
Oh,
I like honestly, none of this is coming as a shock to
No.
me because like Carpenter's always had a very cynical view about Hollywood because I mean he's always been sabotaged, but
yeah.
like this is definitely that line of demarcation where he just stopped giving a fuck.
And he even said that he and James Wood had a great rapport on set because James Wood's known for being terribly difficult to work with because he's a crazy asshole. But Carpenter said that they had a system where he would do one take with the script as it was written, and then he'd let James Woods improvise, do whatever he wanted. Like, yeah, fuck it, whatever. And that way, if the improvisation was good, they'll use it. And if not, he could just do the default shit that he had in mind anyway.
Did this come out in a dump month?
Let me see.
This feels like a very sleepy summer.
October 30th, 1998.
Wow.
Oh, so it was literally a Halloween movie.
Wow. Dang, because I was like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, God, this seems like a dump month movie. Like, drop this off in like March or April or
Honestly, like January, February, but no, we're going to drop this in the middle of award season. Let's go.
yeah.
It also has 2 direct-to-video sequels, not just one, but 2.
Oh,
I feel like they might actually be an improvement on the subject.
I have not seen them, so
So what were there's Vampires Los Muertos, I think, and what was the other one?
There was 2002's Vampires Los Muertos, and then 2005's Vampires The Turning.
Ooh.
I'm going to look up and see who was in that.
yeah. I need to know because
There might be some extra ball wins in
it's
there.
like spoilers at the end. The 2 vampires they just let get away because they're former friends.
So Vampires Los Muertos starred John Bon Jovi.
What?
I remember seeing the commercial for that.
what?
Yep. John Bon Jovi.
Who says you can't go home?
What?
Yeah, he was the lead.
Honestly, I think he would have more charisma than James Woods in this role.
Yeah, I
would have
feel
more
like, I feel
fun.
like we're already going up.
I'm sure he was more likable.
And apparently it had almost no... Like, Carpenter produced it, but I don't think... oh, yeah. The only reference to the previous film is the mention of the deaths of the previous team. Father Adam Guiter from the original film, who has since died, which is the priest, and also the legendary cross, which was mentioned in this film, which was the whole point of the fucking movie is the first vampire who was a Catholic wants to be able to walk in the sunlight again, so he steals a magic fucking cross, and then one of the priests double crosses the Catholic Church, and nobody cares. It sucks.
and honestly, it doesn't really sound that bad.
Yeah, like you mentioned, there's the bones there that, the first vampire was created accidentally by the Catholic Church, and they're trying to cover it up, which is why they don't tell James Wood's character all the information to start off with, because they don't want to get embarrassed.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that would ever happen with the Catholic
The
Church. They would
Catholic
lie
Church
not to
caught
be
with their
embarrassed.
pants down. That perish to thought, Frank.
And the second movie in this trilogy after John Carpenter's Vampires is Vampires The Turning, which is, instead of a neo-Western, this is a martial arts vampire film.
Oh shit, we gotta watch the
I've
other
gotta
ones
look that one
now.
up.
John Carpenter has no involvement with this one, and it stars Colin Egglesfield,
Who the fuck is that?
Gesundheit.
the star of Vampires The Turning.
That was his breakout role, Frank. Obviously.
Yeah, apparently there are ninja vampires.
Oh, bitch.
Sold.
Hey, see you in 2 Halloweens,
That
folks.
sounds like every teenager's fantasy script.
Colin Egglesfield is most known for his role in the long-running soap opera All My Children.
Oh my god.
He's a soap actor.
Let's see, what else did he do? He was a minor character in 2005's Must Love Dogs. And literally nothing else that anyone has heard of.
All right.
He was on an episode of Gilmore Girls, and an episode of Charm,
Oh, that guy.
and an episode of Rizzoli and Isles, and an episode of Lucifer, and an episode of Chicago Fire.
I thought Chicago already caught fire.
Lol. Yeah, so that is it.
Boo you.
That is it.
Man.
Yeah, it is. It is a. Oh boy! Wow, this sounds terrible. Colin Egglesfield and his girlfriend are vacationing in Thailand because Colin Egglesfield, and I want you to picture the dude who has that name, and you're correct, has trained in Muay Thai since he was a young lad.
Okay.
And so his girl is attacked by a vampire, and he's like, I'm going to kick this vampire to death. And that is the movie. I have just described the movie, apparently.
Nice.
Yeah,
Wow.
I wonder how sensitive they were to Thai culture.
I'm sure
I
in
imagine
2005,
Not very.
I'm sure it's just as like there is nothing that's aged poorly in that. I'm sure.
Yeah.
2005's
It's fun.
Vampire the Turning direct to DVD release, starring Colin Egglesfield as a Muay Thai master.
I'm sure they're completely respectful.
No.
Holy
Yeah.
shit! That
Wait,
sounds
hold
awful.
on. Wait, Shim, I think you glossed over the star of Disney Plus's Andor, Diego Luna, is a part of the Vampires Los Muertos.
I'm sorry, I didn't even notice that. My eyes have gone cross-eyed from this bullshit. I didn't even see his name in there.
Hey, so they're hey before they were famous, right?
Yeah. You got to do something somewhere, right?
I'm sorry, when you're looking at a vampire hunter movie starring John Bon Jovi, you don't see anything else, okay? Like, that is tunnel vision.
Now-
you got to look to the future, Shim.
I wonder if there was like a tie-in music video for it.
God, I don't even want to consider that possibility.
What's the soundtrack?
I don't know.
Vampires are turning.
It's just a bunch of like Bon Jovi's greatest hits.
Oh, God.
It's like the shit that Bon Jovi made when he was like pissed drunk. Yeah, throw that on there.
Yeah.
So, what we're saying is the Vampire Trilogy is not good.
John Carpenter definitely probably doesn't want to remember that one.
Oh, God. You know, we have to rewatch Ghosts of Mars at one point because I feel like it's not as bad as this, but I know it's terrible.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. That one is. Ugh.
It's bad.
I've seen it, but it's been a long time ago, and I remember even in my days of I had to rent everything that came out and watch it. Did not enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been at least 20 years since I've seen it. I think I was like maybe 12. And even then, I'm like, this movie sucks.
Yeah. There was something else that came out around the same time that was like a Mars movie, and I can't remember which one it was.
Doom?
No, Doom was.
It was surely later.
I was in college when Doom came out.
It was like what, 2008, 6?
I thought it was like
6.
2003.
I think it was either. I think it was 6.
Okay.
Yeah, but there was another one that was like because like there's Ghost of Mars, and there was something else that was along the same lines. I wish I could remember which one it is.
Yeah, Doom was 2005. And goddamn, The Rock's head
Was
was
it Red
so
Planet?
small back then.
Well, HGH will grow the jaw muscles.
Was it a movie called Red Planet?
That sounds familiar.
I've seen that movie. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that movie. Yeah.
Was that the one with Val Kilmer?
It's where they find like a spot on the planet where there's like grass growing essentially.
Yeah.
Well, I found the poster for Red Planet.
Yes, that's it. I think
Yeah, that was the Val Kilmer movie.
I think that one and Ghost of Mars came out around the same time.
Red Planet was 2000, Ghost of Mars 2001.
Yeah.
It has Carrie Ann Moss in it from
Yeah.
The Matrix.
I actually watched this one, and I didn't hate it. It wasn't great, but I didn't hate it.
Yeah, I don't remember hating it.
What a
Not like
random
those
ass movie.
I mean, he's got a 14 on Rotten Tomatoes, but fuck, we've seen a lot worse that has even better.
But yeah, it sucks because like I love like old John Carpenter stuff. It's like I think you mentioned one of the other worst rated things was he worked on the remake of The Fog.
He was the writer, yes.
And I remember like so we watched the original Fog, which I still love to this day because that ending just fucking slaps. And then we saw the remake, and I was like, oh yeah, maybe it'll be pretty good. And then it gets to the twist ending of the remake, and I stood up in the middle of the theater and just shouted, "This is bullshit!" and walked out.
So, John Carpenter's Rotten Tomatoes. Stupid Rotten Tomatoes ads. I don't want the Costco shaver.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't. The only shaver I'll buy is anything that isn't Manscaped. So,
God damn it, Sham. I told you to stop these. If you shit talk other people's ads, we'll never get ads.
fuck them. It's fine. So he was a writer and producer on The Fog
Oh.
with a 4% score on Rotten Tomatoes.
He deserves it.
He did the original music for Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, 9%. Writer on Halloween Resurrection, 10%. John Carpenter's Vampires Los Muertos, the executive producer, 20%. John Carpenter's Ghosts of Mars, 23%. That is his lowest rated feature as a director. Then Memoirs of an Invisible Man, which he directed, 26%. Village of the Damned, which cursed Christopher Reeve. He was the director and did the music, 30%. Screenwriter on Halloween 2, 30%. Director of The Ward, which I have bitched about many times, 33%.
Coming soon to Gated Greatness near you.
Original music on Halloween 4, 33%. Executive producer on Halloween Kills, 38%. Executive producer on Halloween Ends, 40%.
Oh.
Oh God, that movie! You want to talk about a piece of shit? That movie.
I'm surprised he got 40% with how many people have fucking hated it.
Honestly, it deserves to be like fucking zero.
It was funny how it debuted at number one and it had like an 80% drop off of the second week.
And then right above Halloween Ends is John Carpenter's Vampires, 42%.
Hey, we
Way
finally
too
made
hot.
it, folks.
Then Halloween 3, 48%. Halloween H2O at 52%. John Carpenter's Escape from L.A., 53%.
Love that movie.
Prince of Darkness, which is actually my favorite John Carpenter movie,
That one is really underrated.
58%.
That's bullshit.
In the Mouth of Madness, which is my second favorite,
Yeah.
58%.
Still bullshit.
Now, the audience scores on those are much higher, of course.
Oh yeah.
Assault on Precinct 13, good movie,
Yep.
59%. Then we get to Body Bags, which is the first fresh one, which he was the director of, 67. Then American Nightmare, he was a guest in that. Then Christine, 69. The original Fog, 75. Big Trouble in Little China, 75. Dark Star, 76. Halloween, 79. The Thing, 83. They Live, 85. Starman, 85. Someone's Watching Me, 86. Escape from New York, 86. Halloween. This is the original Halloween. That first one was the zombie one, I think. The original Halloween, 96. And then Assault on Precinct 13, the original, 96.
Okay. Yeah, he's got a lot of good ones, and then there's just like some stinkers down there at the bottom, just kind of lingering around.
Hey, I think everybody's entitled to a few clunkers in their career.
Well, Vampires was the last financially profitable movie that he made.
Right.
Because after this was Ghosts of Mars and The Fog and The Ward.
Oh,
Yeah. It's bad.
It's funny because I think it was like Escape from L.A. was the one he did before this one, and that was the first one of the Escape movies that I'd saw. And then I went back and watched Escape from New York.
Yeah, L.A. was the first one I saw. I still don't hate it.
Yeah.
Like, compared to New York, yes, of course, it's not nearly as good.
Yeah.
But in a vacuum, which is how I saw it the first time, it was fun.
With a vacuum plane.
It's got Bruce Campbell playing a crazy surgeon in it.
Yeah, there's a surfing scene that's the height of CGI.
Oh, yeah. I forgot all. And doesn't he like punch a shark or something?
Yes,
think so.
Yeah, that happens.
Thank you, Snake Plissken. Thank you, Kurt Russell, for being in so many John Carpenter things because
Hey,
President of what?
I always
No, really, the president of what?
I always love it when like a director has like their crew that they always film a movie with. Because I think that's just good fun. Why wouldn't you want to make stuff with your pals?
Yeah.
that reminds me of the ending of that movie where he's just like, he just nukes the earth with an EMP and he's like, welcome to the dark age. Bitch. It's like, God damn. Yeah, and then that's that riff.
I do think it's funny. In the movie, there is like this kind of weird, not thorough line, but like a mirror to Halloween 5 when like we have like the hooker that was bitten in the crotch by vampire Scott Stapp, and then like she has like this like psychic link to the vampire, much like Jamie did to Michael in the fifth movie, and it's just like. She had to the screen flashes red, and then it's like, oh no, she's killing the abuela at the monastery, and then there's like she's the living radar between being like shackled to a bed and like just shoved down like the road. It's just like I was just like, why are they pushing this poor woman around
Or what was it? We cut to the scene of her laying butt ass naked on a bed.
For no
It's
reason.
like
Yeah, that felt really.
he's like,
gross.
I
Stripped you of your clothes.
and-
Why?
and cleaned you.
Yeah, I was like, why do we have to see Shirley naked? Like, this feels very exploitive.
Like there was no in story. There's no reason for her to be naked. Like she's gonna fucking be palming a blade or some shit. She's like barely stand because she's bitten by a vampire.
I mean,
Well, his excuse was, I took off your clothes and cleaned you up.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, her clothes are still as filthy as they were.
Yeah, like, there's
So,
no good.
can I get dressed in? Yeah, sure. Here's your dirty clothes.
Yeah, it was bad.
He punched her.
and strangely, he becomes a better person after becoming the vampire.
Yeah, she bites him and immediately he's like, "What's wrong?"
He suddenly has manners.
So hey, it just continues with our idea that the vampires were the good guys the whole time.
Oh yeah, they were the worst. The Baldwin and Woods treated that poor. Yeah, you have to keep reminding yourself she's a vampire victim. She did not, volunteer for this. She got assaulted, and these two quote vampire slayers are slapping her around and calling her a whore.
To be fair, that was her occupation, though.
Hey, listen,
She was a
we
call girl.
respect sex work in this studio,
I'm
Shim.
just saying, like that's
One
that's
more
her job
crack
title.
like that, and you're out on your ear.
There's one part that like at the beginning that really got me, like after I got to sitting thinking about it, where it was like, we checked everywhere, and he's talking to her in the out, like, and I was hoping like maybe he's gonna get some kind of like stroke of genius, but like, God, we didn't check everything because there was a fucking barn behind the house that no one searched. Not to mention this uncovered pile of dirt by a tree that we didn't check either. Like, you guys are the worst fucking vampire hunters.
Well, to be fair, they did all die very shortly after. So yeah,
They deserved it.
I mean, but my headcanon was that they were just like weekend warriors. They're just like a bunch of like drunk, derelict dads who go hang out.
They were paintball squad converted to.
Like, honestly, they look like your local town's volunteer fire department. Let's be real.
They literally drove through towns like, we need some volunteers to help us go clean out a house.
And yet the simultaneously them being the professional vampire hunter SWAT team basically for the Vatican. We're professionals. We know what we're doing. Everybody know this. We've got these. Apparently, there's 10 rules that we only get like 5 of them randomly. They get in the house with the vampires and become the most inept amateur vampire hunters ever.
like
They
one
probably,
of
they
like,
probably just picked up the stiff as the
Probably.
bus station.
because like one of them like he jiggles the doorknob and James was like, "Hey, be quiet, you idiot! What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, got it, yeah." And he just flings the fucking door open as hard as he can.
Like every vampire in that house knew they were there then.
Oh yeah.
Because they roll up on this goddamn like tank.
Yeah. It just, I don't know, that guy, like after they drove off and then when he's talking to Christine, like in the hall, like outside where she's getting ready to like, she's going to his room. She's talking to him and she's like, "Everything wrong?" He's like, "Yeah, I just missed something today." And I'm like, that would have been the perfect time for him to be like, "Missed something. Oh, we didn't check that one spot." And then just have the vampire lord come in. That would have been much better. But
There's so many things that we could easy fixes that would have made the whole thing much better. Because
Yeah.
like every other vampire hunter in all of media that I know of, I would imagine them sitting and watching this bullshit and just laughing their ass off.
just see like just cuts to us. I love what we were talking about like in the movie. Just like it pans back and it's just the vampires from What We Do in the Shadows watching this, going, "This is fucking stupid."
Yeah, it's terrible.
I mean, you could probably give each of us a pointy stick and like just throw us in the dark. We'd probably fare a little better.
Yeah, like we would at least match their average at this point, I think.
I mean, I can guarantee there will be no sex workers attacked in the making of our vampire assault.
It's like the other thing that like really like kind of like made me mad was there at the end when there's this whole like action sequence and all we get are like layover screens of stuff happening.
Just like montage fight sequence.
We don't even see the fight happen, and it's just like, and then it cuts to James Wood is being like strung along. No, it was horrible.
Well, like even at the very end, the main vampire villain is killed. 2 of the other masters are killed. There's 8 total, so 6 of them, and then like a good 40 vampire goons just run back into the building.
Yep.
And they're like, "Oh, I guess we got some work to do."
There's 2 of us now. We can totally take on 40
The
40
fuck, man.
or the fact that the lead vampire goes from being very smart this entire movie about how he's doing stuff, and then fights James Woods and completely loses all intelligence.
And like, he's unkillable for so much. He gets just tanks bullets. Nothing happens, but James Woods stabs him with a magic cross and just like pulls it, like fucking spears a load-bearing beam down so the roof collapses. He explodes and bursts into
Horrible.
flame and shit. Like, they doesn't even follow the own rules that they set out.
Yep.
They're just like, hey, let's wrap this bitch up.
That's probably what they were looking at. Like, all right, guys, we got to.
Well, yeah, that's another illustration of how they were close to having a good plot point, but failed, because the whole deal was they had that black cross because there was this ritual that the turncoat priest was going to do to allow them all to walk in sunlight. So as the sun comes up, he has to do this thing, and it fails because the other priest kills the traitor priest
On top of a building like
with
100
a
yards
with a sawed-off shotgun from 100 yards and,
in the air.
Anyway. But yeah, there is a nugget of logic there. Okay, he was expecting not to have to hide in the sun. So yeah, you could have made that a thing. Instead, he goes hides in a rickety-ass barn held up by a toothpick that James Wood does his best wrestling Kurt Angle impression, spearing.
Yeah, it was.
And like the roof has holes in it.
Yeah, it already had holes in it, so
vampire,
there's sun shining through.
Yeah, Valak walks through several sunbeams and he's fine, but half the roof comes down and he's still just outside of the beam of light. He's like, ah!
Oh, God, the part where after she bites the Baldwin's neck and he fires the gun off and doesn't even put the barrel to his neck and just goes, ah! And it's like, dude, that's not even hot.
It's not that she bites it. She bites off a cookie cutter chunk out of his neck.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
And that's the second wound he cauterizes with heat and or flame.
And when he got bit by her the first time, he holds a pocket like a Zippo to his like,
And it wasn't even long enough to cauterize it.
Sound.
He just like holds it there and just for a few minutes, and it's like, dude, that's not long enough to cauterize a wound. Like, you need to go like heat up some metal and just throw it on you. Like,
That's also nobody's. Why are you doing that? It was just like a puncture wound. You know, it's not like a huge wound on your arm. I was like, is that something to ward off the vampire virus or whatever it is?
Nope, just trying to make him look
And I
cool.
was like, nope.
no.
I think just the copious amount of alcohol coursing through his system is what dulled the vampire's edge.
What the guy said about the hotel?
Yeah, the
room.
hotel blowing up.
Because when vampire like Sting comes in, kicks down the door, and he starts like murking like all the prostitutes and like their like goofy ass team. I will say the first kill was pretty slick when he cut Mark Boone Jr. in half and just like that was good. That was you get one gold star there. And then they had the weird crossfade montage that kills them all. And the reason why it blows up after James Wood pulls one bucket of gasoline around because they're just booze hounds soaked with whiskey.
Their tissues are so saturated with alcohol that when the flame hits their bodies, they just explode like a Molotov cocktail.
And then he cut off their heads for reasons.
Well, I love the fact that he cut off their heads and just went across the road and threw them in a ditch.
Oh yeah, that was, and then you see the news clip, and they're like, "We're not sure what happened to the bodies, but the heads were found further down the road." Like,
Let's just burn the heads.
Yeah.
Like, that's so much extra work to put them in a little runoff ditch and then just sort of like doggy kick dirt over the bag that's covered in blood.
It's like he's a dog, like scraping up like shit. He like kicks dirt back over his heels. And is like, okie dokie, guys, let's hit the road and just like continue to be an asshole for.
I feel like they did
They
did like a first take of the hotel exploding, and then like Michael Bay came by and was like, "Not enough explosions."
And then the hotel was like called the Sun God Motel. It's like it's kind of giving like From Dusk Till Dawn, but then like anything else, it's just like an imitation of something better.
Yeah. What if From Dusk Till Dawn, but worse?
So basically what we're saying is if you want to watch a fun, action-packed vampire movie for Halloween, watch Blade starring Wesley Snipes.
Or Dusk
My
Till
dear
Dawn.
cousin.
Oh yeah,
Or
This
pretty
movie's
much,
trying to ice skate uphill.
Yeah.
or pretty much any other vampire hunter movie.
Just about.
Or,
Just about.
Vampire in Brooklyn.
Yeah, watch Vampire in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I enjoy that movie. I very much.
Yeah,
do.
it's
If I had a physical copy, I probably would have put that on the list instead of the dog shit
And
we
like
just
it-
watched.
it's a legitimate horror movie. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. Vampires sucks. Like this is a bad movie.
Yeah.
Hey, they can't all be winners.
We're sorry, John Carpenter, that you had to direct this shit.
I feel like he should apologize to us
Yes, 100%.
Maybe.
because he directed this shit.
If he was involved in the writing of this at all, he owes apologies.
Yes, he was. He was involved. Yeah. So yeah, that's. Anybody got any other shit you want to pour on this movie?
I mean, I think we've kicked this dead horse long enough.
Oh, God, it's turning into a vampire.
As it just like juts out of the dirt like a goddamn daisy.
Fucking vampire horse.
Well, let's do the crossbow bolt of our plugs and drag this piece of shit out into the sunlight and watch it burn. Jeremy,
Yeah.
where can the people find you?
They can find me on Instagram at Toons Cosmic Reality. I've been drawing my little ghosties all month. And then I also have twitch.tv/backwards hero where currently I'm playing Rumbleverse with my friend Six Hill. So, yeah.
Nice, Frank.
You can follow me. I occasionally post, like maybe once a month, on Instagram at Postman Frank.
You're welcome for that.
Yeah.
If you ever become famous, we're getting a cut of that because we came up with
I
that
have
name.
a TikTok that I just basically follow Canon or myself, depending on how you want.
Hey, if you want a free follow,
Hey, yeah. You
Just
followed me the other day.
Just message, me and on TikTok at Swarley, and I'll follow you.
yep.
Jojo.
My name's JoJo. You can follow me on Twitter at JONIABUI24 and John Ownson 12 on Letterboxd. And I will see you again in 25 years. Meanwhile.
A great visual bit.
Fantastic. We're going to leave that awkward silence in for sure.
That JoJo holds their pose.
Yeah.
Well, hello, everyone, and goodbye. This has been Pat. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at John Lost His Name. If you're listening to this episode the week it comes out, we have a brand new episode of AYCH, episode 286, where Wenzel has handpicked 21 short horror films that they discuss, and we also eat a bunch of Halloween candy along the way. And also keep an eye out on our brand new channel feed, AY6 Extra, where we have new shows, Backlog Boys covering video games, Cinema Grimoire covering classic Gothic movies, and we have a whole lot more coming out on that channel, so keep an eye out over there.
I've been Captain Chimmy. You can follow me at Captain Chimmy's Kind of Art, Captain Chimmy's Almost Music, Captain Chimmy's Toy Box. You can also find me at the comic strip, where I sell comics here in Tuscaloosa. I also have a different podcast that I update sporadically called Captain Chimmy's Effed Up Head. You get to listen to me slowly go crazy. It's the best. So for the schedule, what we've got is next week, if I remember correctly, we have the rescheduled round of the Impression Game. And that should be a good time. It's going to be a good time.
Good time?
Yes, a good time. And
Already
then
said it. I mean, it has to be true.
after that, November is going to be an uncaged month. So we've got the Impression Game. Week after that, we have Jeremy's pick from the Uncaged Wheel. And then the week after that, we will be doing Cannon's birthday celebration. And then following that, just to let you know, so you're not surprised, we'll tell you every week leading up to it, we are going to be taking a break, bit of a break from Thanksgiving to New Year's, just to recharge our creative batteries. But a few of us are going to be getting together to do some stupid random bullshit that we'll put up just so you have something to listen to because we love the sound of our own voices and we're egomaniacs. So
Hey,
look forward to that.
We can't have us getting rusty over a holiday vacation.
Yeah, no, we're just going to take a whole day and then film a bunch of shit and then I'm going to just splice it together and just put out 15, 20-minute episodes.
Yeah, it's going to
Hey,
be pure insanity.
we got a lot of stuff cooking up here.
Yeah, no, actually, we have a whole sheet of weird, stupid, random ideas. It should be a good time. Mm-hmm. So that's our plan for the rest of this year. So we will see you next week for the Impression Game, and it's going to be a good time. Thank you for listening. Big shout out to JoJo for holding this pose the entire time. Also, shout out to our listeners, especially you guys in Tappahannock, y'all the real MVP. We love you, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Still posing.
You are the boss, JoJo.